You are Locked On Phillies Postcast, part of Locked On Sports Philadelphia, on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Welcome to the show, everybody. Your Philadelphia Phillies complete the sweep of the Tampa Bay Rays with a 3-2 victory. Nick Castellanos strikes back. Casty strikes back. How about them apples there, Tampa Bay Rays? How about them apples, Edwin? You say it. How about that? Zack Wheeler gets his career-high 15th win of this season. Not too shabby. Keeps his NL Cy Young hopes alive. It feels good. But I just have one question. Are the Phillies back? Okay, that's enough of that. I am beyond excited that the Phillies won this game. I really wanted the Phillies, after Nick Castellanos was hit again in the 8th inning, to put up a 10 spot just so somebody would catch that fury, would catch that fire, would catch that smoke from either Carlos Estevez or whoever, just so whoever would come in and pitch that 9th inning if the Phillies did score 10 runs. Just because I don't care if Kelly was intentionally or not intentionally doing it. That's still Bush League. Find the plate, bruh. Especially against a guy like Nick Castellanos, who you already know is at the eye of the storm a little bit. But Nick Castellanos with the big hit in this ball game, the clutch hit came courtesy of Weston Wilson. We will get to it all. And I feel like we've been saying this way too many times. You know, he didn't have his best stuff, but he battled through it. It's a cliche, but it applies yet again to Zack Wheeler. We'll go through every single inning of Zack Wheeler tonight, the ones he struggled in, the one inning that he two innings actually was able to pull focus a little bit. I don't know, have control. I don't know way to describe it, but he was certainly able to dial up those put-away pitches, especially with 9 strikeouts on the evening. So we'll talk about it all. Your Locked On Phillies postcast and the Locked On Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel. Thank you for making Locked On Phillies postcast your first listen every day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcast and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. This particular episode brought to you by the great people of the Game Time app. Download the Game Time app to your phone, create an account, use promo code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. That's promo code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. First, I just have to do this thing just real quick to take care of some business from last. Here it is. Ready? Last time on Phillies Postcast. You know, Edwin Uceda needs to be suspended for at least 3 games. It's absolutely ridiculous that he can just get away with this. He needs to get suspended. Now on Locked On Phillies Postcast. I'm really glad that Edwin Uceda guy was suspended, because that's exactly what Major League Baseball needed to do. Good job, Major League Baseball. Good on you for that. That got the vibes going in a great way for the Phillies and myself going into tonight's ball game. I found myself extremely excited just to watch Zack Wheeler tonight. Extremely excited just to watch him deal in this game tonight. And that's exactly what he did. He went out there, again, did not have his best stuff, but he got the job done. Now, that was the good vibe. Knowing that Uceda was suspended, knowing that Zack Wheeler was going tonight. The bad vibe, unfortunately, before a pitch was even thrown in tonight's ball game, was the fact that Kyle Schwarber was originally slated to lead off and then scratched. I don't mean like scratched like another boo-boo. I mean like he was taken out of the lineup. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Okay. That's a little worrisome. Last night I was told, don't worry about it. Today, originally in the lineup and then not. Okay. Like when all the beat reporters were tweeting out the lineup and all that stuff, like posting the lineup and all that, he was on it and then he wasn't. What happened? He feeling good and then wasn't? Okay. Whatever they say, whatever they announce, whatever they said, whatever they announced, I'm just going to have to take some deep breaths, because we got Bryce Harper, who I know is hitting great for average. That's all nice. Tonight wasn't an example of that, unfortunately, but has not been able to hit for power. Still Alec Bohm. We know the injury list at this point. I mean, for crying out loud, you got Ramos Garcia behind the plate for the Phils tonight, so that's happening. Great throw, by the way. Way to get the run. That was great. In the 9th inning, that was good. But that's a little, you already got enough guys banged up. You already have enough guys at this point in the season that are not 100%. You know what I'm saying? So that is a concern. Now, let's get into what we always get into when we start the show. 3 big things. It's tough. It really is tough. I got so many things to get to here, and I'm surprised to say this, but I got to go with Nick Castellanos at number 3. Like, I really just want to do like 1A, 1B, 1C, but I don't sit on a fence on this show. No. We make decisions, okay? Nick Castellanos, all this is probably, it might be the tightest race in the history of our Locked On Big 3 here. Three big things, okay? Here you go. Number 3, Nick Castellanos. When he stepped up to the plate in that first inning, and he drilled that 2-run home run to left field to get the Phillies on the board and open up the scoring, that was a thing of beauty. And yes, because of everything that went down last night and the Bush League throw by Edwin Uceda to plunk Nick Castellanos, for him to go up there, get a 1-1 slider that was hanging out over the middle of the plate off Boz, and he just drilled it 370 feet to left center field for the 2-run home run. That was clutch for the Phillies. Get the early runs. And I know Tom McCarthy pointed this out during the game, and he's exactly right. Absolutely right. Boz settled in beautifully, and I was surprised they took him out when he did, but oh well, that's a shame. Anyway, the Phillies did a great job in that first inning of getting those runs, in large part thanks to Nick Castellanos. His 20th home run of the season, and it knocks in his 79th and 80th RBIs on the year. When guys are banged up on this team, you need the guys that are, of course, healthy to do their thing. Nick Castellanos has been doing his thing for the vast majority of this season after that slow start. Then I feel like we can stop referencing the fact that it was a slow start, because he's been hot enough for the Phillies as of late, and he's turned it into another 20-homer season, 80 RBIs. Love to see it. You also, if you're going to have some guys that are banged up, you need some other guys at the end of the bench to maybe step up and help this team win ball games, which brings me to number 2. The birthday boy, Weston Wilson, turning 30 years of age today. Also, today happens to be my parents' wedding anniversary. But Weston Wilson goes up and gets the job done for the Phillies in a very interesting time in the game. They have the pitching change, of course, after things get knotted up at 2 in the 6th inning. Wheeler at 87 pitches when he started that inning, gave up the home run to Aranda that tied it at 2. And then in the 6th inning, this is the way it was set up. Trey Turner grounds out on the first pitch of his at-bat against Boz. Then they go to Drew Rasmussen out of the bullpen. He comes in, he faces Bryce Harper. He gets Bryce Harper to ground out to first base. Now, it was an amazing play by Aranda, who dove to his left, made the stop, and then stepped on first base to record the second out of the inning. Then Nick Castellanos stepped back up to the plate, and this time Nick Castellanos worked a walk. He worked a good at-bat, worked a full count, got on base. How about that? And then Brandon Marsh hit the bouncer out of the right side of the infield into right field, and that put runners on first and third with 2 outs. Let's get something going here. The Tampa Bay Rays decide to have a little bit of a mound conference. Hey, let's not let this run score. And we should probably let this run score. No, let's not let this run. Don't let this run score. Weston Wilson steps up there, and I don't even know how he made contact with this. One thing I didn't look at, I saw it. I don't know where they tracked it. But I saw it hit off the bottom of the bottom of the bat, swinging bunt type of situation for Weston Wilson there in the 6th inning. And he just gets enough of it to put it down the third base line, bringing in Nick Castellanos from third base. Rasmussen can't handle it, slips through his fingers. If he makes a clean play, he probably gets Weston Wilson at first base and the inning is over, but that's not the way it was meant to be. Weston Wilson gets the sinker down and in. He rolls over it, really, but gets enough of it to propel it down the third baseline. Rasmussen can't barehand it. Castellanos comes in to score. Weston Wilson gets credit for the infield RBI game-winning single, as is later determined, obviously. And then Cody Clemens grounds out to end the rest of that inning. But Weston Wilson made just enough contact to put the Phillies in front. I heard John Kruk made the allusion to an exit velo of like 1. And if it even is an exit velo, I don't even know. And the run scores, so that's all that matters. Who cares? Did the RBI come home? That's all that matters. Weston Wilson, birthday boy, happy birthday to you, and way to go, Philadelphia Phillies, to win this game. Number 1, this man is in a Cy Young race. His name is Zack Wheeler. Zack Wheeler is 34 years old. Zack Wheeler has never won 15 games in his career. In 2 seasons, both with the Philadelphia Phillies, he was able to win 14 games. But unfortunately, in this particular instance, he hadn't been able to get to 15. You might say that wins don't matter. You might say that when looking at the Cy Young, it should be all about ERA and WHIP and all that stuff. I say winning means you're lasting long enough to get in those games and get those decisions, and you're propelling your team to victory. I'm going to go ahead and say they matter. They're not everything. They're not what they used to be, certainly. But 15-win season, if you've never done it before, that's a big deal. Congratulations to Zack Wheeler for getting that done. You absolutely love to see that for him. And the other thing that you see in this game tonight was just his ability to struggle, and that's why he is number 1. Castellanos at 3, close second, Weston Wilson, and then number 1, Zack Wheeler, who went out there. If you haven't seen the numbers yet for Zack Wheeler tonight, check this out. Wheeler off of ESPN. Wheeler, 6 innings pitched, 2 runs, 4 hits, 3 walks, 9 strikeouts, and did give up the 1 home run to Aranda. 103 pitches, 69 nights for strikes, and he gets his ERA to 260. I think it was a 261 coming into tonight, so that home run kind of hurt him. He got it down to, I believe, 257 in today's start, right before that home run. But really had, when he needed those put-away pitches, he got them. And the best example of that for Zack Wheeler being able to slam the door was in the 3rd inning. In the 3rd inning of tonight's ball game, there's a little bit of a misplay off a line drive to right center field off the bat of Brandon Lowe. He gets a triple out of it. I say misplay because Johan Rojas did not play the carom properly. If he did, you're probably holding him to a double or you're throwing him out at third base. But that's not the way it went down. It went down with Brandon Lowe getting credited for a triple, and rightfully so. So he's standing on third base for a a triple. Caminero goes up to the plate. He strikes out on a sweeper. Then the other Lowe, Josh Lowe, steps up to the plate. He strikes out on a cutter, 3-pitch at bat, I believe it was. Then Carlson steps up to the plate. Carlson, good to see you. He steps up and goes down looking at a sinker. Nice to see you. Now sit down. And Zack Wheeler, after the leadoff triple, slams the door by striking out the side. That's when he was 1 billion% locked in. And that was part of an 18-pitch inning. When you look at his pitch count throughout the innings, and I said I was going to go through this. I'll do this right now. First inning, he throws 15 pitches. Second inning, 26 pitches. Third inning, 18 pitches. He starts the 4th inning at 59 pitches. I was really hoping that you get 7 innings from Zack Wheeler tonight. Wasn't meant to be, unfortunately. 59 pitches at the start of the 4th inning. Then he comes out. He goes to the 5th inning. Has a fairly quick inning there with only 14 pitches. Starts the 6th inning at 87 pitches. And I was just crossing my fingers that he'd have a 10-pitch inning, something like that. I doubt you'd put him out there at over or right at 100 pitches for the 8th inning, or excuse me, for the 7th inning. But it's possible. Didn't come to fruition. Ended up being 16 pitches for him to get out of the 6th inning. He logs 6 innings of work. Yet another quality start for Zack Wheeler. And the Phillies, of course, this is what was so great. When Weston Wilson came up to the plate, well, really when the Phillies were coming up to the plate in the bottom of the 6th inning, I'm thinking, just get that run. Get that run. Get Wheeler off the hook of a no decision and onto the hook of a win. And that's exactly what they did. They picked up their pitcher. After the 1 home run, he surrendered to tie the ball game after not being able to muster much offense throughout the game. They got a clutch run when they needed to get it, both to put themselves in front and also at the right time to get Zack Wheeler that 15th win of the season. How about that? You love it. You love every second of it. When we come back, we'll take a look at some other things from this game, some other storylines from this game. I'll also look a little bit more at what this did for Weston Wilson and some of the other guys at the end of the bench that have been able to help this Phillies team win, especially in this series against the Rays. It once again propels the idea of why the Phillies are in a place they haven't been since 2011, which is 30 games over 500. We'll break that down and more. Also, in our final segment, we'll go to our comments and see what you guys have to say about this Phillies victory tonight. Their 88th win on the season for your Philadelphia Phillies. And yes, it is September 11th, and we will remember one of the greatest games I can ever remember. in sports history in Philadelphia, without question. Where my memory goes when thinking about what sports meant for the healing process of many people in this country after September 11th, 2001. Back in a second, you're Locked On Sports Philadelphia and the Locked On Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel. This right here is Locked On Phillies postcast. Back after this. You guys know about the Game Time app. I've talked a lot about the Game Time app. The Game Time app is where it's at. Guaranteed lowest price at the Game Time app. If you find tickets in the same section and same row elsewhere for less money, Game Time will refund your account 110% of the difference. That's the Game Time guarantee right there. How do you like that? You want to go to the concert, comedy show, the game, whatever the case might be, Game Time has got you covered. And now, better than ever, with new Game Time picks. Now, what's the Game Time picks? Game Time picks is this. The Game Time picks means that instead of looking through thousands of tickets to find the best seat, the lowest price, you toggle the Game Time picks feature on the Game Time app. And you know what it does for you? It just filters all that out and shows you right then and there. Boom, right in your face. It shows you the best seats at the best prices. You can also toggle the all-in pricing feature on the Game Time app. You know what that gets you? That lets you know exactly what you're paying at checkout. So there's no sticker shock. You're not like, whoa, how do these $20 tickets just become $45? What's that about? You know what I mean? No. Toggle the all-in pricing feature on the Game Time app. You know exactly what you're paying before you check out. You can take the guesswork out of buying tickets with the Game Time app. How great does that sound? So you can view your seat before you buy it. So you do, in fact, take the guesswork out of buying them tickets. So download the Game Time app to your phone, create an account, use promo code LOCKEDONMLB. That's promo code LOCKEDONMLB. Terms apply, and you get $20 off your first purchase. How about that? That's Locked On MLB, LOCKEDON MLB for $20 off your first purchase on the Game Time app. As I said at the start of the show, thanks so much for making Locked On Phillies postcast your first listen every day. Now make sure for your second listen, you listen to our friend, host of Locked On MLB, Paul Sully Sullivan. He's here daily to provide national expertise with his trademark humor to help you get ready for the MLB playoffs just around the corner. And you can prepare for the Fall Classic with Sully, who has it covered every single day on Locked On MLB, available on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. How about that? The amazing thing about this Phillies season, since 2011, they haven't been 30 games over 500. The amazing thing about this Phillies team, first place in all of baseball, game and a half up on the Dodgers right now, who play in about 35 minutes, I think it is. They play later tonight against the Chicago Cubbies. The Phillies are not here without the Weston Wilsons of the world. They're not here without Cal Stevenson. They're not here without the Buddy Kennedys of the world. Garrett Stubbs has had his moments this season. I reference it all the time. That Christian Pache actually won a game for you against the Marlins. Like the guys at the end of that, Rafael Marchand coming up and hit 3 home runs in his limited time. The Phillies are not in this place without the performances and clutch performances of guys like that. You are having a great year without those guys. You're not having a historical year without those guys. You are certainly not the best team in baseball without guys like that performing. Without the power numbers of a Kyle Schwarber, without the power numbers of a Bryce Harper lately, with the power numbers kicking up again in this month of September with Kyle Schwarber, guys that help bridge the gaps while those bigger name players are not performing. Those are the biggest difference makers that you've been able to, as a group. That is a huge difference maker to you're having a great season, to you're having a historic season. And that's one thing that we can't just gloss over is how much these so-called glue guys, these chemistry guys, some of these vibes guys, right? And I don't just mean that with Garrett Stubbs. I mean that with everybody who is not the bigger name players on this roster that are doing their job to the nth degree to make sure that the winning just keeps on coming. And yes, for a long time, about a month and a half, it was pretty scary. It was not fun. It was, when are they going to get out of this? And then they finally got out of it. And now here they are again, the best record in baseball, playing like the best team in baseball. And as we've highlighted many times, this is a tough stretch ahead of them. 7 games against the Mets, 3 games in Milwaukee against the Brewers. These are all teams that are looking to make some noise. This is one team in the Mets that's looking to hold on to a playoff spot. This is another team in the Brewers that's looking to be a threat in the postseason, certainly. Go out there and handle your business. There was some unfortunate news for Braves fans today. Ronaldo Lopez is going back on the IL, so they lose another great talent. For a third time this season he's been missing time? Not ideal, obviously, but that just doesn't make the Braves any better, of course. Well, actually, who knows? Against the Phillies, which hopefully they don't have to play them again. It's a rough one there for the Braves, certainly. So the Phillies, I know we've been talking about injuries with the Phillies and some of these guys at the end of the bench being able to step up and do their job. That is fantastic. But it's hard to make any comparison to what the Phillies are going through right now to what the Braves have been going through for the vast majority of the season. And the Phillies certainly are doing what they're supposed to do as far as taking advantage of a team that is usually a pretty big threat come September, October, not looking like they're going to be around for much longer as a threat to anyone, especially the New York Mets or anybody else in the National League. So I want to make sure I tip my cap. One more hat tip. You see at the top of this list right here, Zack Wheeler, obviously 6 innings. How about Matt Strahm with another hold tonight, pitching the 7th inning, 15 pitches to get through that 7th inning. And then Jose Alvarado, thanks to some wizardry in right field for his first out, Nick Castellanos being able to come up with that ball that was hit just over the head of Bryson Stott and just past Bryce Harper. It almost fell into the right field Bermuda Triangle, but Nick Castellanos just caught it at the right time, and he comes up with the first out. But 7 pitches in that 8th inning for Jose Alvarado, records a strikeout, and has just been a much better pitcher for the Phillies as of late. I want to make sure I give him his hat tip. And Carlos Estevez, or has become known in the chat, Charlie Sheen, he gets his 25th save of the season, so you love to see that as well. When we come back, we'll take your comments, of course, and I'll share a memory I have of September 19th, I think it was, 2001, when the Phillies came back. Some of the amazing moments, and how that was a huge hug to sports fans throughout the Delaware Valley. We'll get back to that in a second. You're Locked On Phillies postcast and the Locked On Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel. Are you guys taking advantage of Prize Picks? Prize Picks is America's #1 daily fantasy sports app. Hope you're taking advantage of all they have to offer the great people, the Prize Picks. It's the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. And unlike other apps on Prize Picks, it's just you against the numbers. All you do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections. You watch the winnings roll in. I had Harper down for another 2 hits. I hit more than one hit. Didn't get it, unfortunately. I also had more than 7 strikeouts for Zack Wheeler. I got that one, at least. Prize Picks puts their members first. So all the withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. When my picks hit, I can get my cash and my money as quick as 15 minutes. Download the Prize Picks app today and use promo code LOCKEDONMLB and get $50 instantly when you play just $5. That's $50 instantly when you play just $5. Promo code LOCKEDONMLB on Prize Picks to get $50 instantly when you play just $5. Prize Picks is the only real money daily fantasy platform with an injury insurance policy as well. So let's say you're looking at football. You're looking at your lineup, whatever the case might be. Even if one of your players gets injured, if your player leaves in the first half of a football game, for instance, it doesn't return, Prize Picks, your picks are still live. How great is that? So download the Prize Picks app today. Use promo code LOCKEDONMLB and get $50 instantly when you play just $5. You don't even need to win to receive the 50 bonus bucks. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks. Run your game with Prize Picks. September 11, 2001, I was in college. I was at Temple University. I was a freshman. And I'll never forget walking into a place. It was a Temple Ambler, where I was taking some classes. And I'll never forget walking in this room called Bright Hall, which was like the common room of the campus. And the pull-down screen was up. The projector was up there, and it had the news on. And I remember walking in and seeing the first tower hit already. And I thought, I was like, this is a weird movie to be showing. What is this? Like, what is this? And then obviously 2 seconds later, you realize, oh no. And then I remember talking to a friend of mine, like, wait, what's going on? And then the second tower got hit. I remember being in there when the first tower fell. And it was just, everyone knew at that point what was going on. I mean, everyone had a pretty good idea. And it was just, I mean, one of those days you don't forget where you were. You don't forget what you did the rest of the day. I just remember thinking, it was the first time I ever looked as an American as I feel vulnerable. And I'll never forget that feeling as a 18-year-old kid being like, oh God, what happens next? And then, of course, rightfully so, sports shut down. The nation mourns, and in a lot of ways, the nation is still mourning. And we tried to get through that moment as Americans together. And I, as a sports fan, was eagerly awaiting sports to return because that was going to be some sense of normalcy. I remember late night television, of course. Each host had their own individual monologue. It was very poignant. It was very reserved. It was not funny, as rightfully so. It was kind of like, I'm going through this, like you're going through this, that type of thing. And then I remember Harry Kalas giving all of Philadelphia that warm hug, as only Harry Kalas could, when he addressed Phillies fans everywhere with his opening remarks before the Phillies took on the Braves in their first game back. And I remember the incredible video put together by Video Dan Stevenson of the Phillies. I remember Larry Boa crying. I'll never forget that. Standing there for the national anthem, and then the presentation of that great video. And Bo is an extremely emotional man, and seeing him move to tears was pretty special. Scott Rowland, a 2-homer game, if I'm not mistaken, getting the curtain call. And he was one that never wanted to show up the opposing team. And Larry Boa said to him, this is bigger than that. You need to say hello to these fans. You need to say thank you. And he went out and the place went bananas. And then I remember years later, I interviewed Doug Glanville, because that 2001 team became one of my favorite sports. This is so random, but that became one of my favorite sports teams in Philadelphia history that didn't do anything. Like, they didn't win the division. They didn't make the playoffs. They didn't do anything. They were just a good, fun team to watch. I remember Robert Person had a really solid year for the Phillies that year. Scott Rowland was great. Bobby Abreu was great. Johnny Estrada and Todd Pratt were like the backup catchers to Mike Lieberthal, got injured and that Phillies team, after Lieberthal got hurt, their all-star catcher, they weren't supposed to do anything. And they ended up making a push. I think they missed the playoffs by 2.5 games. They missed winning the division, I think, by 2.5 games. They went to Atlanta, and the Braves watered down the field because the Phillies were one of the stolen base leaders in the league. And the Braves watered down the field to the point where I was told, it was Marlon Anderson, the Phillies second baseman, told me that umpire Joe West told the Braves, like, knock it off. We know what you're doing. And apparently this is a common thing if you're facing a speedy team, where they had their grounds crew water down the field too much towards the end of the season. The Phillies went into that series, second to last series of the season. They needed to sweep the Braves, I think, to clinch, and they ended up losing 2 or 3, unfortunately. And they lost their opportunity to win the division. But right after 9/11, the Phillies were on a bus. I think they were headed to an airport, and I got the chance years later to interview Doug Glanville, and this is where he filled me in on 2001, right after 9/11. He was like the union rep for the team, and he was on the phone, and he was instructed, every team is taking a vote of whether or not they should play. What does your team say? And Doug Glanville had to put the phone down and address the team and say, obviously, this is a unprecedented circumstance. What do you guys want to do? And everyone's like, it's not time for games. It's not time for games. And then when they came back, whether it was Harry Kalas addressing the crowd and the Phillies fans on TV, or it was Video Dan Stevenson's tribute to the game of baseball, whether it was Scott Rowland's home runs, whether it was Larry Boa's emotion, I'll never forget that. I mean, just as a sports fan, what that meant to me. And I know it meant to a lot of people that I come in contact with quite frequently in the Philadelphia area and really wherever. And then, of course, just as an American, as a human, there is no day that I will ever forget that is of the ilk of a 9/11. And there is just nothing that will ever come close to that. The vulnerability you felt. And then the appreciation. And then, of course, Philadelphia and the New York Mets. This series is about to get underway. 10 years after 9/11. During the Phillies Mets game, we received word that Osama bin Laden had been killed. And the news started to circulate throughout the stadium. I'll never forget, I was in radio at the time. I was in the studio at the time, and I could hear the people chanting USA, USA. And that's where the word started to spread throughout the stadium that 10 years after the fact, the Phillies were, or excuse me, that the United States was able to conduct an operation to get Osama bin Laden. Pretty amazing. Yeah, a lot of history goes through the mind on a day like today. To all those that have served in the military at any point, thank you. To those that enlisted after 9/11, thank you. And to those that made the ultimate sacrifice, including Travis Manion of the Travis Manion Foundation, my old intramural high school teammate, Travis. Thank you. And to those that paid the ultimate sacrifice, may you rest in peace. I do want to hear what you guys have to say about this win tonight. Phillies were able to get 30 games over 500 for the first time since 2011, as a matter of fact. So I do want to see what you guys have to say on a night like tonight. IBH, what's going on, IBH? Alvarado, 8th through the 8th, 7 pitches. How about that? Oh, baby, a sweep. Garcia can certainly throw. Yeah. How about that? That was a seed to second base. John Marinelli, wins is wins. I concur. Morgan Landy, what a throw by Garcia, 30 games over 500. Let's sweep the Mets. The New York Metropolitans, by the way, the Phillies have the off day tomorrow, which is awesome. And then the New York Mets are coming into town after picking up their 80th win of the season. They won 6-2. They just took 2 out of 3 against the Blue Jays. That's what the Mets have done. I believe they've won 8 of their last 10. I think that's the way that's gone. So, yeah, Friday night, they start a weekend 3-game series with the Phils in South Philadelphia. As of right now, I'll give you the pitching matchup. As of right now, Aaron Nola slated against Jose Quintana. Lefty versus righty. Quintana, 4.09 ERA in the season with an 8-9 record. Nola's going to be going for his 27th win of the season, so look forward to that. Johnson Wall, hello. I've been waiting for this moment all 30 seasons, all season, 30 games over 500. Very proud of this ball club. Evelyn busting out the brooms. Tim, what's going on? Wheeler, for not having his best night, still got the job done. And good old Casty with a 2-run bomb. We did pretty good tonight. Yes, they did. Bam, man, 100. Wheeler was labored, but got the job done. The bullpen was awesome. Alvy smoking again is a great sign. Nick gets his revenge. Hell yeah. Dave Briga, what's going on? Hit the like button. Oh, thank you, Dave. Yeah, hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Thank you very much. Oh, Farzy, once I saw today's date, I knew Casty would homer. Yeah, that's crazy. Casty's homers are like at very odd and poignant moments. It was Weston's birthday. He gave us a gift. Oh, that's nice. Lisa Wicks, happy birthday, Weston Wilson. What a great way to celebrate your birthday. Nice sweep of the Marlins. Boys bring on the Mets. 3 fastest fills. Rojas to first. Marsh out of the dugout for a walk-off celebration. Bullpen running on the field after on-field. Wait. 3 fastest fills. Rojas to first. Marsh out of the dugout for a walk-off celebration. Bullpen running on the field after a field scuffle. I see what you're saying, Greg. Nice sweep of the Tampa Bay Rays. Happy birthday, Weston Wilson. Bring those stinking Mets, says Lisa. Keep it up, Phil, says Frank. Michael Evans. I'm really worried about the Mets series. It's a huge series. That's it. It's a huge series. Win the series. Timothy B. Yo, Farzetta. I feel like I'm in high school when I hear the Yo, Farzetta. I don't mind it. Some people are greatly insulted when you refer to them as their last name. My last name is unique. Very unique. There's like 14 other Farzettas, and they're all my aunts, uncles, and cousins. Okay? You know what I mean? And my brother. Oh, and my mom and dad. So there's like 8 other Farzettas. Okay, maybe there's 20 other Farzettas. But anyway, yeah, the division, this is a big game. Big game. Batman 100, Phillies won. Yeah, hell yeah. Oh, wow, you were in 6th grade. Crazy. That's, wow. Mr. 3-incher. We got to make sure we don't sweep the Mets. Otherwise, it'll be good for the Braves. Ooh, methodical. Oh, Evelyn, beautiful story and tribute, Farzi. Thank you. Appreciate you. Jamie Slack, bring on those good, dirty Mets. The no good, dirty Mets. Yeah, bring them on. They are dirty. No, all right. Anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening, everybody. Be back with you guys on Friday after the Phillies take care of business at Game 1 with Aaron Nola on the bump against Quintana of the Mets. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Yeah, make sure you hit like and subscribe on the Locked On Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel. I'll be back with you guys a Friday night. So I look forward to that. See you guys then. Bye.